everyone, welcome to Chalchitra Talks. I'm Vaani, and this week I want to recommend to you 4 books, children's books that I think all of you should pick up. A lot of you have already seen me talk about The Little Prince on the channel. The Little Prince is something that I made everyone read. I even made Vaibhav read it. And this is one of those beautiful children's classics that you pick up when you grow up and then you realize the beauty of it. So in today's episode, I wanted to look back at 4 children's books that I think changed my world when I picked them up years later. And the first book that I want to recommend to you is The Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss. It follows the narrator as he looks at this person who has started this journey of discovering something new. He's just started this journey. We're not sure where it's going to end because the end is somewhat open-ended. It's open to your interpretation. And you start reading this book and you realize that this is going to be something that everyone will relate to because it's about the journey. And I think this is the perfect book that you can gift to someone who's starting something of their own, venturing out into this world and so on. You follow the narrator as he tells you the story of this person, which is you, the reader, and he takes you through these different landscapes and these different situations where maybe sometimes you won, there were times when you lost, your friends got ahead of you because they were good at some other things or they got the right opportunities and you were left behind. You tried something different, something new, something hatke, and you failed. And he says this is all okay. And everything makes sense and you get validated, which is the beauty of this book. But then there is this one particular room that makes it very special. It's called the waiting room. And the narrator tells you everyone is just waiting for something to happen here. And in the waiting room, there are a lot of people. And as you reach there, the narrator reminds you that, perhaps this is not what you're supposed to do. Every one of us, at least, it's true in my case. Sometimes we end up in places where we're just waiting. We are just waiting for that one opportunity. We're just waiting for that one moment. And he says, why do you have to wait? Why can't you just go all out and do something instead of waiting? Because that's where you stop growing. The second book that I want to recommend to you is Where the Wild Things Are, and it has been written and illustrated by Maurice Sendak. And it was written in 1963, so it's a very old book. It's actually a story about a boy named Max who's very young and he has dressed up in a wolf costume and he's being naughty and he's irritating his mother. And his mother gets really angry and she says, "Oh, you're such a wild thing. Go back to your room." And he gets really angry. He goes to his room and you know how kids are. And overnight, his room starts going a transformation. The trees grow and he travels to a place, to an island where there are beasts and they're known as the wild things. And he becomes their king, which is really absurd, but he becomes their kings and he's just having the time of his life. He's met people who want him to be their king and they're doing whatever he tells them to do. They're breaking branches, climbing trees and everything that, you would disapprove of if you were a parent, but the exact validation that a 7-year-old boy would need. So he's doing that and he's enjoying everything when all of a sudden everything goes quiet and he realizes he misses home. He wants to go back home. And so everyone is begging him to stay. All these wild things are begging him to stay, but he just wants to go home. And so he does this journey, he takes this journey and he reaches home and a hot supper is waiting for him in his room. This is a very simple story, but why I want you to pick this up is because it's very heartwarming. It is just a gentle reminder of how no matter what you achieve in life, you need that sense of security in a person or in a place, someone or something that you can call home and travel back to every time things become extra for you in your life. And therefore, this is my second recommendation to you. The third book that I want to recommend to you is something that I wouldn't recommend to any child, any kid. And I'm not certain if a lot of you will buy it at all or would want something like this at all in your libraries. But the title of the book is All My Friends Are Dead, and it's by Avery, Monsen and Jory. And it's such an interesting book. The cover of the book is a dinosaur and he says, "All my friends are dead." And all his friends are dead because he's a dinosaur, right? And in the book, there are different species, there are trees, etc., etc., and all of them say, all my friends are dead. And for example, there's this dodo bird, which is now extinct, and the bird says, all my friends are dead. So this is a great way to learn about species that are extinct, but do not buy this for children. There is an old man who says, most of my friends are dead. There is a young man who has passed away. He's looking down at something from heaven and he says, all my friends are still alive. Jokes. There is a tree that's about to be cut and he says, all my friends are dead, but I hope we'll meet in afterlife. And he meets his friends in afterlife when both of them are drawers. So this is something I wouldn't recommend to any child, of course. And I do not know why a lot of you would want to read it, but this is nonetheless one of my favorite books. I think because it's a subtle nod that you're not immortal and that life is finite, but it's also a very funny and dark take on the same. The fourth recommendation that I have for you is actually two books. Both of them are incomplete without the other, because to read one, you need the context of the other, and to read the other, you actually should have read the first one, because only then will you be able to appreciate the second book. The first is actually something that was written in 1960s, and it's called The Giving Tree. A lot of people buy it for their kids because it's considered to be one of the most selfless lessons and why you should be very kind. So it's a story about a tree and a boy. The tree is very giving, as the name suggests, and whatever the boy asks for, it provides him with that. Whether it's shade, fruits, branches, wood for the house, or the boat that the boy is trying to make, and even peace or quiet when he's old and he needs it. And therefore, it made me really angry when I read it for the first time, because the boy was so selfish. He did not care about the tree. He did not even ask what it wanted, etc., etc. And he just kept on asking for things, and she would provide him with that. And I really thought that's a terrible lesson. It should always be a mutual give and take. Never just, I will take everything that you have and I will not give you anything in return. And this is one of the major problems that I had with this book. However, that changed in 2010. I still have the same problem with the first book. But the second book came out and I'm a little delighted because it's called The Taking Tree, a Selfish Parody. And as the name suggests, it's the parody account of the first book. So there's another tree here in the book and there is a boy. And the sides have turned. The boy loves the tree. The tree is very selfish. And it's also somewhat a diva. For example, there is this one point in the book where the boy just wants to go out and play with the girls in the neighborhood. He's very young and he wants to play with those girls. And he's just about to leave when the tree says to him, because she's realized that the boy is going to go. And the tree says, can you just check my nitrogen levels in the soil because I feel so weak? And while you're at it, can you please check other nutrients as well? And the tree makes such a sad face that the boy is full of guilt and he's like, yeah, let me just do that because that's more important. And that's about it. However, towards the end of the book, there is an event that changes everything and both of them become eternal enemies. But you should pick this up because, of course, you will learn the power of selfishness and selflessness. But then for me, it was also a big takeaway on why in relationships, mutual give and take is important. So these were my recommendations. And I am also aware that a lot of you might be of the opinion that why should we read children's books at all? But over the years, I've realized that children's books offer you a perspective that is otherwise missing or that we somehow lose as we get older. And sometimes the key is just to do things that you did as a child and have fun while doing those and feel no embarrassment. I have these books in my personal collection because I just like to go back and read them when things are just going haywire and not as I planned. And that's when I really like to go back to these books and just breathe. And if you liked these recommendations, do let me know because that would encourage me to talk more about children's books and other books that I read when I have bad days or I'm just stuck in places. So do let me know if you like these books. And before I go, I want to remind you of 3 different things. The first one is a subtle reminder to become a patron or join our YouTube community if you like our work. We have carefully divided our patrons into different categories, and one of them is Godfathers, which is the topmost category. And to everyone who is a godfather, we are very careful of how we talk to them and how we address them, because they are literally our godfathers. And you will get access to all of our WhatsApp groups, especially the ones that are dedicated to music, books, and films. And you will meet like-minded people as well who love to discuss these different art forms. And you will also get access to Vaibhav and my streams as well. You can join us on our streams if you become a godfather, and you can also join the different quizzes, and you are the ones that we prefer to when we want some feedback or we want to showcase some new content. You are first preference because we really like to take care of our godfathers. And quite recently, Vaibhav and I have started writing letters to godfathers, handwritten letters with personalized recommendations to all our godfathers every month, because we really care for them, because they're just supporting us when we need it the most. And therefore, if you like our work, do support us on Patreon or join our YouTube community. It would really mean a lot to us. The second thing that I want to remind you of is that a lot of new things are happening on the channel. The second episode of VM Calling VM will be out soon, and we are trying our best to come up with new things for all of you guys, and I really hope you like them. Vaibhav's networking course is going to be out soon, and I've looked at it now and it looks really solid, and I hope you're as excited as I am. So just support us, because we're trying to do a lot of things. And the third thing that I want to remind you of, or talk to you about actually, is that I was looking at the statistics and I realized as much as 60% of the people who watch our videos have not subscribed to the channel. This makes me a little sad because we work hard a lot, and only if those 60% of the people would subscribe to our channel as well, we would have much more numbers than what we do right now. And therefore, if you're someone who watches our videos and has not subscribed to the channel, or if you know someone who watches our videos and has not subscribed to the channel, please make them do so, or please subscribe to our channel if you haven't, because it would help get more creators and discuss more art forms with you, because it would connect us with people who are like-minded and who love what we do. And it would just bring together a community of people who appreciate these different art forms that we are so passionate about on Chalchitra Talks. So do like, share and subscribe our videos, and do support us if you like our work. And I will be back again with another recommendation for you next week.